No.
I can manage.
I know you can manage.
I'll try to
Fake. It is recording.
Are you sure?
It's red, which means record.
Hello, I'm Robin Fullmeister.
Welcome to the Ugly Truth. See, and you got to do a better ugh and everything.
Well, the first ugh was pretty funny. I was like,
Okay, so I neglected to hit record on our first sesh, so you have missed all of the stories and the tales.
oh, God.
So, quick recap. Stephanie's son broke his arm. He had surgery.
right.
The doctor's very good looking.
Yeah. And he told me, by the way, this doctor that's very good looking, he's the orthopedic surgeon. He came out and you know how they do when the surgery's over? Mm-hmm. They come out and they're still in like their full surgery like attire, just to tell you like everything went great, you know, all of that. And so I was like, oh, good. I'm so relieved because there was an alternative procedure that he might have had to do, but he couldn't tell until he got in there. And it wasn't what none of us wanted that, but he didn't end up having to do it. I was like, okay, good. Well, I'm really relieved. He's like, so he's waking up. They'll come and get you in a moment. So I totally get it because I was like super relieved that it was over and I was exhausted. We'd been there for like 7 hours and I'm sure I looked like a wet rat, you know.
Always.
So he says, yeah, I have 2 daughters. I get it. Like, I know. And I'm like, have your daughters ever had to have surgery, Mr. Surgeon? He's like, well, no. I go,
then you don't get it.
I'm like, I know you get it. I'm like, but until your kid is actually doing it, I'm like, and I don't know if that's worse or better if you're a surgeon yourself.
I don't know.
Because you know,
the risk.
One, you know how rare it is that something goes wrong. And so that's probably reassuring. But at the same time, you've also seen when something does go wrong. Ugh. And so which is worse? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. He's like, but either way, he goes, you know, I go, and how does your wife feel about when your kids get sick and blah, blah, blah. He goes, well, my wife's a pediatrician. I'm like, of course she is.
Oh my God.
Right? So I was like, okay.
And she's probably gorgeous. Is her name Amal Clooney?
Right?
Seriously.
No, I didn't stalk her on the internet, but I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, aren't you just the perfect little couple and family?
Well, and okay, so we talked about your son and he's doing well.
Yes.
And then we talked briefly about Paso and how I got car sick because the driver was just taking those switchbacks. And also how at our very first place, I got stuck in the elevator because I couldn't remember the code and I couldn't see the code because I'm blind. And I was stuck in there waiting for a host to come and get me out. That was embarrassing.
That would be, only because this is the difference between my sister.
I knew it was going to happen.
Well, you and I are different in the sense that Jamie will just resign herself to be like, well, I'm just going to stand here.
I guess someone will have to come and get me eventually.
Until something happens. Me, I have to do something so people don't know. No. Like to try to hide it. Oh. So I would have got out and be like, oh, I was just walking around. Like I wanted to see up here. I would have pretended that I was doing something else intentional.
Oh my God.
So that people would know that I was
You're literally. Like, no, this was on purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
Just admiring the art.
But Jamie's okay with just be like, well, I'll just stand here.
Someone will get me.
In an empty elevator until something happens. But then, of course, you know, it has to open with 4 strangers and another host. I would have died.
They open, I'm like, hello. They're like, hi. I'm like, I'm just trying to get back downstairs. They're like, are you supposed to be down there? And I'm like, yeah, my party's down there in the cave room. They're like, oh, okay, no problem.
No, I'm just some random girl who thought I would see what's going on down there.
And then not only that, well, because that's why they have a code.
And that's probably happened, right?
Because a lot of people try to get down there because it's so pristine.
Yeah. Ooh, what's this?
Yeah, and it's very fancy and all that shit.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. Okay, well, that was pretty much the show.
It was just funnier the first time.
Okay, so I don't know where to start with this. I'm going to go a little bit backwards. So I did a 36-hour fast this last week.
Why?
Well, because I went to Cincinnati with Daryl.
Yes.
And I
know you guys did a show about it when I was gone.
Well, briefly. I didn't get into everything. Like the travel part.
Yeah, I saw your social media posts. You only did a handful of them, but it was very beautiful what I saw.
Cincinnati I'm in love with it. I mean, I told Daryl, I'm like, we could live here. He's like, stop it.
Jamie, it was funny because I was telling my husband that you guys were traveling and he's like, where are they going? I'm like, Cincinnati. And he's like, Cincinnati and everything. And then we both had to think about it. I'm like, Ohio? Mm-hmm. They're going to Ohio and she's excited?
I was excited. I've never been to Ohio.
Well, who goes to Ohio unless you have a reason?
I had a reason.
Right, you had a reason. But I'm just saying, like, most people aren't like, oh, what are you going to do for vacation this summer? We're going to Ohio.
I know, but I have to tell you, I loved it.
Hey.
I loved it.
So on the map, where is Ohio? Like, what's its borders?
It's right above Kentucky.
Oh, okay.
And above Ohio is,
I thought it was more Midwest.
Like Indiana, Illinois.
Okay, well, that is Midwest.
Yes,
but
it's
but
right
I don't know
in the
if
heart of the
Ohio-
heartland.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Cincinnati is in the lower left of the state, right
it's more
above.
south?
Yes, it's south.
Kind of southern?
It's southwest, about as southwest as you can get on a state. But what's great about it is like where we were staying at this lovely hotel it was a Marriott, the Lytle Hotel. I cannot say enough about it. It was so amazing.
Great.
I had a view of the Ohio River, which is it's a very large river.
Yeah.
And on the other side of it is Kentucky. So it's literally,
Beautiful.
in fact, we landed in Kentucky and then drove into.
Oh, how interesting.
That's how close it is.
What was the airport like? I'm just curious. I've never been to that part of the country for any reason.
I know nothing about Ohio, nothing.
Right,
and
same.
so I was like, I can't wait to see and experience everything.
Everything.
But first of all, there's no direct flights to Ohio from Sacramento.
Right.
None. And so we had to connect in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
And then Chicago to Ohio. And O'Hare is one of the busiest hubs, and it's so you've flown through there
many
a million times.
I'm not a huge fan.
Neither am I, by the way.
It's scary.
It's very overwhelmingly crowded.
It's so busy.
And the weather was bad.
And that's what I was about to say.
It was raining.
I don't think I've ever landed there where there wasn't some kind of weather.
Some kind of event.
Something.
So we were delayed an hour.
And it's never good.
And so and of course we had barely enough time to get to our gate because God forbid they're never next to each other because of the way it's just set up, you just have to take. So we had to walk all the way across under the tarmac over to the other side.
Do they have those people mover things?
They do.
Yeah.
And they also have a train. And I said,
nice.
why don't we take the underground train? He's like, I don't think it'll take us to where we need to go. And because although Daryl does travel significantly, he can do the train in Denver, no problem. But this one he wasn't sure about.
If you're not sure, then don't do it.
Yeah, so we just walked it. And it was fine. You know what? We had been... Here's the other thing. I had to get up at fucking 4 a.m.
I remember. And you told me before you guys left.
And I was excited about it just because I was so excited about getting to my destination. Yeah. So I'm like, I can't wait. So it's fine. Just because I've never been there before.
Yeah. I mean, traveling's fun.
Yeah. So we get to Chicago, we deplane, and we are walking to our gate. And we don't have much time. We don't even have time to stop and get food. So we want to get some food. I'm like, I don't think and everything's so crowded. There are lines. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do
Starbucks
that.
is out of the question.
It is totally out of the question.
You're literally like, no, I'm not going to feel comfortable. We're at our gate, and then we can see how many minutes we have.
Exactly. So we get to our gate. We have enough time and they all sell the same stuff. It doesn't matter what kiosk. So we just got like a sandwich and chips, and that was pretty much
something
it.
So you weren't
something
ravenous.
prepackaged.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, I'm just going to eat this on the plane. I'm not eating this right now. Yeah. So and I just got like a dry turkey sandwich. Anyway, so we get to our gate. Every flight was full. Every single flight. They're like, the flights are full. You need to check your bag. We won't have enough overhead space. If you're in one of the last groups, we're going to check it for you. So don't give us guff. Just fucking do it now, please.
Right.
So that we don't have to wait.
So we can avoid that and we don't have to wait.
Luckily, because Daryl travels so much, we're at one of the first groups to board. Yeah. So no big deal. So I get window and he gets middle seat so that we can sit next to each other. Mm-hmm. So we get on and we're sitting there and it's really warm. And I'm like, why is it so warm?
Right before you took off?
Yeah, in Chicago. And it's raining like cats and dogs. And I'm like, why is it so warm on this plane? It's insane.
Oh, so the pilot's like, doo.
And so all of a sudden the pilot's like, yeah, so we're waiting for a security check. So, and the security guy, or the guy that would, tell us we're okay to take off is stuck in security. So we have to wait. And he's like, so sorry. And so we're like, all right. So he goes, I'm sorry for the delay. He goes, oh, and by the way, because of the weather that came through, we have to wait for it to pass because there was lightning. Yeah. So we have to wait. Fun. And so it was an hour.
I was sitting on that plane.
I'm like, I can see how people go postal because I'm getting ready.
Yelling and be stupid.
I'm feeling like I just want to rip my skin off at some point. And I'm like, I just want to get going.
You really have to distract yourself in those moments.
I mean, it is hard.
Yeah.
And I am a very I do not cause problems.
No, of course not.
Right when we're getting ready to take off, and then out of nowhere, and the seat next to him, Daryl, is empty. The aisle seat was empty. I'm like, that's weird because they said this was
the
full
security guy.
It was.
I knew it.
It was the air marshal. He came in. He never said a word. He never looked at anyone. He was like weird. And Daryl's like, maybe he's like on his way to a funeral. I'm like, that's the air marshal.
Yes.
Don't talk to him. Just don't. Just let him do his job.
He knows and the last thing he wants to do is have small talk.
No.
Especially whatever he's been through that he's late.
Oh,
he's like, let's get the fucking show on the road.
Yeah, they might have been waiting for him.
I bet you they were.
Yeah, and he's
Partially,
and
I mean-
he was furious. And he was the first off the plane too, by the way.
Yeah.
He got up and moved and like no one even.
Yeah.
So anyway, but luckily
Don't mess with the
our
air
aisle seat
marshal.
people were fine. We never
Yeah.
had any weird issues. And I get a lot of shit for being very independent when I travel, when we're in airports.
Why?
Because airports to me, it's every man for himself.
Oh,
and
agreed.
I said this at on the last show.
We've talked about this when you've traveled with your kids.
Yeah, and I tell them that. I'm like, don't wait for me. I will be there for you on the other side. I'm like, but you are on your own.
Yeah. If we get
I can't-
separated or we're in different lines.
just meet me at the gate. That's what I
know where to
always
go.
say. You do. And I tell them and I show them and I train them. But anyway, and I did the same thing. And I think I talked about it on the show where we're going through security coming home. And the lady goes, "Are you alone?" I said, "Yes." And Daryl's like, hello, you're not alone. I'm like, oh, yeah, right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'm with him. And she's like, okay, well, you two can go together. And I'm like, you don't have to do that. I'm fine, but I get it.
Well, they want to know who you're traveling with for
I
security
know.
purposes, actually. But
Of
yeah,
course.
I hear you.
He's like, you're not alone. I'm like, oh, yeah, right.
well, technically,
Yes.
I guess I'm not.
I never think about anyone
but
else.
honestly, I'm in my body, my mind. I'm alone. What are you
I
talking
just
about?
don't know. I'm like, I have no children with me.
Yeah.
No minors. So yeah, we land in Ohio. The airport is very bright and clean and beautiful. The only thing that's a little unnerving, obviously, because it's the Midwest, is everything's a tornado shelter. Like,
Oh, for God's
literally,
sakes.
they're like, and like, there's arrows. Run this way if there's a tornado.
Oh, for God's
I'm like,
sakes.
oh my God! And all the airport's fully brick. Like, and it's
Oh.
kind of even underground a little bit.
Yeah, they lower it so it's not so
Yeah.
high up if the tornado comes.
And Daryl was telling me that this airport, the Ohio airport that we landed, I think it was CVG. So it's Cincinnati something. Anyway, it used to be an Air Force base, and they converted it to a
regular
public
yeah.
airport. So it's really big
Yeah.
and like wide.
That's cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
And also, tornadoes. That
Well,
probably
right.
helps
Spread it out. So if it
yes.
sucks up one part of the airport, we still have a
Exactly.
functional section.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense.
Luckily, Cincinnati's very hilly, and apparently they don't really get tornadoes. They
Yeah.
get flooding, which is still scary. But no,
It's
'cause
just different than what
I was a little
yeah.
worried. I was like, do they get tornadoes? They just had a big tornado in Ohio.
But everybody has underground shit there. Because
They
when
do.
I've been
You're
I've been
right.
to Illinois many times, and first of all, like the siren system, it's very normal
Oh my
for those to
God.
be in all over the place.
scare me. I'd be so
It
afraid.
is. It's a little scary. And I was there one time when they went off.
Yeah.
And then I saw the basement of the house, and they all have them.
Yes.
And I'm like, well, I mean, you probably would be fine if you were down there.
I literally was like, we could live here. He goes, one word. I go, what? He goes, tornadoes. I'm like, okay,
he's
never
not
mind.
wrong.
I can deal with earthquakes and fire. I don't want to.
I don't know. The fire thing's got me kind of freaked out.
I'm fine with it.
I mean, the way that Napa and Maui burned,
that's true.
that scared the fuck out of me. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's really
that's
scary.
like it's like a
You're right.
firestorm. It's not
I
just
know.
like you would have time to get away.
People said they were sitting in the ocean because they ran into the sea
Yes.
and they were watching fire tornadoes.
They were, and people died.
immediately, like instantly.
And not only in the fire, but the people who had to jump at the goddamn ocean.
So
the man
scary.
lost his wife, who they both jumped in together, and he never saw her again.
That's so terrifying.
Isn't
and sad.
it? So I mean, yeah, you jump in the ocean for relief, but you can still die.
I'd be so afraid of sharks.
Sharks and the current. I mean,
I
you're
just would
jumping
be
into
so
the ocean.
afraid.
Yeah, you're not.
I'd be like, I can't. I would probably have a heart attack. Actually,
there's just so many things that could go wrong.
I don't want a shark to bite me when I'm in the middle of a scary
Jamie,
fire.
I'm telling you, I watched that movie again the other day. The
What?
one about the little surfer girl who got her arm bit off.
Bethany,
Yeah, I mean, it was horrible.
it's terrifying.
I mean, I know it's a triumphant story about overcoming and all of that, and all that's great.
she still delivered.
But at the end of the day, she got her arm bit off by a shark.
an animal ate her.
I can't.
I don't want to do it.
No.
I don't want to do it. I don't know how people swim in Florida. Those sharks are right on the fucking shore, man. They
I'm
don't
not.
care. And bull sharks go into their little valleyways of water.
You know what? I've never been a big fan of swimming in the ocean.
I would never.
I mean, have you never gone in Hawaii?
We go to Hawaii.
I think I went in waist deep.
You and I went to Waikiki with
did.
Mom 100 years ago.
Yeah.
And we did swim
We
around.
did swim,
in
but we
the
were children.
sea.
We didn't know.
We were dumb.
We didn't know.
We had no. We
had
didn't
no
know what
fear.
We didn't know what we didn't know.
We had no idea. Yeah.
But when we
But
go,
as adults, when we've been.
yeah. So when we go back to Hawaii, we only go into the lagoons.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, and I've asked repeatedly, has a shark ever gotten into the lagoon? And they're like, it's impossible.
Like in Jaws.
Impossible. Yeah.
They're in the lagoon.
Yeah.
Mickey's in the lagoon.
The lagoons are actually shut off to the ocean, but the ocean tide can come in. The only thing that's ever gotten into the lagoons that I'm willing to swim in Hawaii are turtles.
Oh, I was going to say.
And that's because they can...
What about those fucking stingray things?
No, they can't.
I mean, I think they're beautiful creatures, but I don't want to be by one.
There is no doubt in my mind that one day I will show you these lagoons to your face, and you will see that it's like it's like
perfectly
30
safe.
feet, like a plateau.
Yeah.
Nothing, no large creature can get over.
I wonder if my husband would be different now, because the last time we went to Hawaii, we went to Waikiki, and he swam, like no shit, like fucking swam.
Wow.
Out there. And I was just like, go ahead. You know, I wasn't about to do it.
That's fine. I'm the moneymaker. Go ahead. Get eaten.
Well, back then I wasn't, but yeah, now I am.
I know.
But no, I mean, and now I wonder if he would be as brave, because, you know, time has a tendency to teach you some lessons.
You know, from what I've read, Waikiki is incredibly safe.
I know it is, but
there was one little junior tiger shark floating around a couple months ago.
Well, they're everywhere.
Well, it's their home.
Yeah, they're there. they just
live.
don't have a tendency to bite people until they do. But
bull sharks will eat anything. They're assholes.
Yeah.
They're the assholes.
Well,
of
they'll
the
just
sea.
take a bite of you and see if they want you.
Bull sharks are just bullies. That's why
they're aggressive.
I think that's why they call them bull sharks. They're like, well, bully. No, I don't know. Anyway,
no, they probably do.
Yeah, and I will say this. I will tell you that I did not meet one unfriendly human in Ohio.
Nice.
Now, I have heard that the Midwest have the friendliest people.
They do.
But I've also heard they're real good at faking it.
They are. Well,
And-
they're all about the manners and
You know Midwest people. They lived in Illinois
I was
forever,
married
right?
to one, yeah. And his family, although I have to say, I got really lucky. They are genuinely lovely people.
The only thing I can say is this. I really, and I think this is an arrogant statement, but I think that I would be able to tell if it was faux or genuine.
You probably would.
I really do.
But not
think,
everybody. But you have that sixth sense.
Because I think I can sense when someone's just trying to be polite versus like, you know, genuinely like, oh, we're so glad you're here. You know what I mean?
I mean, the thing about being genuine is if you're not being genuine, at some point you're going to see a crack.
You slip.
You can't be like that
Forever.
all the time. Yeah.
I didn't get one bless your heart, which was nice. I will say we had one server the first night we were there. We ate at the hotel, and and they're trying for a Forbes award.
Okay.
So they're really elevating their dining experience. We had a wonderful time. Our server was exceptional. I loved her personally. She was a little over the top with the compliments with me. And I told Daryl, I said,
Maybe
see,
you were like a phenomenon to her.
she understands that you flirt with the wife, not the husband, unlike the New York whore that was flirting with my husband when I went to New York.
That would make me insane.
I was insane. And Daryl's like, it's fun. I'm like, it isn't fun. It's disrespectful. I'm the one that controls the tip.
It's not her. And it's not because you feel threatened.
I wasn't insecure.
No, it's not about that. It's just rude.
It's really freaking, oh, nice watch. And I'm like, I bought it for him, bitch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not insecure.
You.
I'm really not insecure.
No. It's not about being insecure.
No,
it's just rude.
It's just disrespectful.
It is.
Anyway, so she flirted, not sexually, but she was like full of compliments. Like, oh my God, you're like this shining jewel. Because I was wearing a cute dress and I had my nails done.
That's sweet.
And she's like, you're just so sparkling. And I'm like, no one has literally ever called me sparkling.
That's cute.
But I appreciate you.
But you know what? I don't know if you're like this, but I'm like that. I love to compliment women.
I do too.
And there's
constantly.
And some of them are so surprised by that. You know what I mean?
Like you're right.
But and that's
I do too. I mean, love it.
They find it so strange.
I love it.
And I'm like, but I really mean it. Like,
I really mean it too.
Beautiful.
I mean it too. So anyway,
or lovely, or whatever it is.
We're running out of time, and we'll continue this on the next show. But round one was I loved it. I met
so fun.
I met amazing people. I met some of Daryl's colleagues who were nice enough to squire us about for a couple of hours.
Nice.
It was amazing.
And how fun is it to go somewhere you've literally never been?
It was like a foreign land in a good way. Like I just loved it. But what I also loved is how it's just we're all the same. Like it's just
people.
Yeah. And it was funny because some people were like, "You're from California?" Like it's like how I've never met anyone from California before, and that was so funny.
That was how it was for me the first time I went to Normal, Illinois.
It was so weird because I'm like, I'm literally I'm a strong 5 in Sacramento. Okay, this is not. I promise. It gets way better. If you come to California, you'll be like, damn.
I don't know, but at the same time, because you're native Californian, like you've never lived, you drip that thing that they all think we are. Yeah. That's what you are to them.
We went to a restaurant and we're like, we walk in and I am genuine when I go into a new place. I'm so excited. I've done my research. I know what the menu is.
Oh my God, Jamie, you're all just like me.
So I walk in and they're like,
we are not having a bad experience no matter what.
No. So I walk in and they're like, hi, welcome. Do you have a restaurant? I'm like, yeah, we do. I said, and me, because I'm just a little over. I'm like, I'm so excited to be here. I've read so much about you. I know about the chef. I know about the menu. I'm so excited. We're from California. We've never been to Ohio. And they're like, oh my God, you're from California. Come with us. We got an amazing table. We got an amazing server. The GM came over later in the evening. She goes, how was your experience?
Nice.
And I go, it was so great. She goes, when you told us you were from California, we pulled out all the stops.
Because that is so sweet.
We want you to compare us to what you've had in California.
Which is amazing.
And I'm like, have you ever been? She's like, no, we've never been. I'm like,
it's like
oh my gosh.
bucket list thing for them.
Yes. And I said, it was next level. It was
that is so fun.
Experience.
And how often, if you're in that industry, does somebody walk in genuinely so excited?
I was so excited.
Yeah.
I loved it. We were bragging and about like Mackenzie, our daughter. She's like, I'm like, just the whole thing.
Everything.
But it was so great.
God.
It was so good.
Oh my God. It sounds so fun. Well, you have to tell me about the food.
I will.
Another time.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening.